Welcome to SVR IAS Academy. In our today's video lecture, we are going to see about the Hindu newspaper analysis of 20th December 2017. This is page number 1 of Hindu newspaper, and this page contains two important articles. The first article is regarding the fast track court for investigating the criminal cases which were registered against the elected representatives, and the second article is regarding the USA's new strategic policy regarding the South Asia. This first article is very much important from the perspective of General Studies Paper 2 of UPSC Civil Services Examination, because this article is discussing regarding the People's Representative. In India, the Supreme Court is the final appellate authority. As a result, the Supreme Court is having a lot of cases which were pending in front of it. Since the cases against the politicians were keep on increasing day by day, the Supreme Court is finding it difficult to clear it on time. As a result, the Supreme Court of India has recommended the Union government to form a separate fast-track court to deal with the cases of the politicians. The main objective of this action is to clean up the legislative wing, and by creating this new fast-track court will speed up the process of clearing the criminal cases which were registered against the Indian politicians. This fast track court is exclusively meant for dealing with the criminal cases which were registered against the members of parliament and the members of state legislative assembly. In India, the fast track courts were proposed to be created in 12 places, and the Union government has already allotted the sufficient amount of money, and this fast track court will likely to be inaugurated and started working within few months. In this scenario, on considering all the benefits which were received out of this fast track courts, many of them have supported this move. But at the same time, some of the people were also opposing this move. Some people were saying that it is violative of the fundamental right which is guaranteed under Article 14. The Article 14 guarantees the right to equality. Now, by creating a separate fast track court to deal with the criminal cases which were registered against politicians, it is giving the preferential treatment to the politicians when compared to the normal citizens. So as a result, it is violative of Article 14. This is the viewpoint of the opposers of this move. And also, some people were accusing the Union government by stating that even in India, we are not having a separate court to deal with the cases which were registered against terrorists. In such scenario, if we create a separate court for dealing with the cases of politicians, it will vilify the politicians in general. This is also one of the viewpoint which is put forth by some people. At the same time, some of the people were also saying that by singling out the politicians or lawmakers will lead on to a proper platform for the abuse in the future by the government of the day. So, in ideal scenario, to overcome all this problem, the Union government have to allocate sufficient amount of money, and also it have to create sufficient amount of courts to deal with all the cases which were pending in front of the judiciary in a fast track mode. It have to be done irrespective of whether the cases have been registered against the politicians or the common citizens or against any criminals. All the cases have to be dealt equally and in a faster pace. That is the ideal solution for this problem. That is what I love with this article. Now let us move on to next article. The second article of this page is related to the new national security strategy which is released by the United States of America. This article is very much important from the perspective of General Studies Paper 2 of UPSC Civil Services Examination. because it is discussing about the India's international relations. Recently, the United States of America has released its new national security strategy. This new national security strategy states that the United States of America is supporting the India's emergence as the global leading power. Do note it down. Earlier, the world has recognized India as only as a balancing power, but now the United States of America has started to recognize India as a leading global power. It is a boost up for India's victory in the international relations. This new strategy also states that the United States of America is looking forward to increase the cooperation in the quadrilateral group. The quadrilateral group is also called as Quad Group, is a 4-member group. It has the membership of United States of America, India, Japan and Australia. This new national security strategy also recognized India as a major defense strategic partner. And this new national security strategy document also states that India is one of the friendly nations of United States of America, and also it states that China, Russia and Islamism are the major threats of United States of America. This document also states that India is one of the major partners in dealing with the issues which were going around South and Central Asia and also in the Indo-Pacific region. At the same time, this strategy also says that China is the major threat in both this sector, that is, China is major threat in South Central Asia as well as China is a major threat in Indo-Pacific for the interest of United States of America. This strategic document also says that the United States of America will cooperate with the South Asian nations to maintain their sovereignty as against the China, because China is increasing its influence in the region of South Asia. And this document, that is the new national security strategy document, also says that it will pressurize the Pakistan to intensify the counter-terrorism efforts. Those are the important points of this article, and now let us move on to next article. This is page number 5 of Hindu newspaper, and this page contains one important article. This article is a state specific article, but still it is very much important from the perspective of the anti-corruption activity which is taken by various state governments. This article is discussing about the steps taken by the Karnataka state government to eradicate the corruption in state of Karnataka. Initially, in the year of 2011, the Karnataka state government came with a scheme called as Sakala scheme. Actually, this Sakala scheme is meant to curb the corruption and also deliver these services effectively. Unfortunately, this Sakala scheme of 2011 is having some problem with itself. Initially, this Sakala Act of 2011 is widely welcomed in the state of Karnataka, and it is also seen as one of the important steps taken towards the corruption removal process in the state of Karnataka. Around 725 services of the Karnataka state government were enrolled under this Sakala Act of 2011. But the important problem associated with this Sakala Act of 2011 is it has only imposed a minimum amount as the penalty for delay in addressal of complaint. That is, it has imposed only ₹20 as a penalty for official who have caused the delay in addressing the complaint without any proper reason. It is a very meager amount, and also this Sakala Act of 2011 is only acted as a supervisory position and it does not have any kind of power to collect the penalty. And also this Sakala scheme of 2011 does not accord with any kind of statutory power to impose the provisions of this scheme. That is the major drawback of the Sakala scheme of 2011. As a result, it has failed to curb the corruption, and also it has failed to deliver these services effectively in some key departments. So in order to counter this flaws, the Karnataka state government has now come up with a new scheme, that is Sakala 2 scheme, to eradicate this problem and also to curb the corruption and deliver these services effectively in the state of Karnataka. The new Sakala version 2 Act is an updated version of existing Sakala scheme of 2011. Earlier, the penalty amount which is fixed for the erring official who have caused the delay for addressing any kind of complaint without a proper reason is only rupees 20, and at present under the new Sakala version 2, this penalty amount is increased to rupees 250 per day. This penalty amount will keep on add up rupees 250 every day the delay is causing, and it will end up to the maximum value of rupees 50,000 on the erring officials. And also, this draft Sakala version 2 bill states that after 1 month of commencement of this act, every public authority in the state of Karnataka should publish a citizen charter, and this citizen charter have to mention the roles and responsibilities of every officer or employee of that particular department. And this Sakala version 2 draft bill also states that there have to be a social audit and also a weekly public hearing, information and facilitation centers and independent structures at every district, and also it have to be present at the state level to hear the appeals which were related to the grievance redress mechanisms. These are some of the salient features of the Sakala version 2 draft bill of the state of Karnataka. That is what all about this article, and now let us move on to next article. This is page number 6 of Hindu newspaper, and this page contains one important article. This article is very much important from the perspective of UPSC Civil Services Preliminary Examination because it contains some valuable factual informations. This article is discussing about Border Roads Organization. In short, we used to term it as BRO. Recently, this Border Road Organization conducted annual Chief Engineers Conference, that is the Chief Engineers Conference of 2017 in Pune, Maharashtra. In this conference, the Union Minister of State for Defence have lauded the achievement of the BRO in achieving the target in construction of roads in the border areas. So from this perspective, it is important for us to note down what are the achievements which were made by this Border Roads Organization in this year. The first achievement is the Border Roads Organization has successfully completed the all-weather Rohtak Tunnel. This Rohtak Tunnel is a 8.8 km long tunnel and it is located in state of Himachal Pradesh. The second achievement is the Border Roads Organization has completed the Teng Tunnel. The Teng Tunnel is located in state of Sikkim and it is a 578 meter long tunnel. And the third major achievement of this BRO is it has constructed the world's highest motorable road over Umlingla Pass. The Umlingla is located in state of Jammu and Kashmir and it is located in Ladakh region. It is present at a height of around 15,300 feet from the sea level. So it is a major achievement. And also the Border Road Organization is planning to undertake the construction of roads along the India-China border. It carries out much significance in the backdrop of Doklam standoff which is happened between India and China recently. So from this backdrop, from the examination point of view, it is important for us to locate where this Rohtak tunnel is present in your map, and also you have to know where the Teng tunnel is located, and also you have to know the geographical locations surrounding the Umlingla, that is in Ladakh region. and also you have to carefully mark the Doklam region in your map for the exam preparation. That is what all about this article, and now let us move on to next article. This is the page number 7 of Hindu newspaper, and this page contains 3 important articles. The first article is regarding the recent observation of Supreme Court regarding rights of persons with disabilities. Second article is regarding the Aadhaar card, and the third article is regarding the CAG's observation regarding the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. This article is very much important from the perspective of General Studies paper 2 of UPSC Civil Services examination. Here, this article is discussing about the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act. We know that the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act mandated for minimum of 5% of reservation in seats for the persons with disabilities in the higher educational institutions. But unfortunately, this rules is not followed in the higher educational institution. As a result, a public interest litigation is filed against these defaulting institutions in the Supreme Court of India. In this case, the Supreme Court has observed that the higher educational institutions, especially the government aided and the government institutions, have to provide a sufficient level playing field for the disabled persons. That is, these institutions have to allocate 5% of reservation for the disabled persons. That is the observation made by the Supreme Court in this regard. And the Supreme Court has also stated that it will take appropriate action against the institutions which were defaulting in this regard. The Supreme Court of India also directed the University Grants Commission, that is UGC, to constitute a separate committee to come up with a possible guidelines for facilitating the access for students with disabilities in the universities and colleges. And also, the Supreme Court of India wanted to consider to create a separate panel as an in-house body. That is, this panel have to be present in all the universities and colleges to take care of the problems which were faced by the differently abled persons in a day-to-day basis. The Supreme Court of India also mandated that all these processes have to be completed within June 30 of 2018. This is the second important article of this page, and this article is discussing about the Aadhaar linkage. We know that both the telecom operator as well as the banks were linking the Aadhaar card with the corresponding accounts of customers. This has a lot of advantage because it is helpful for reducing the pilferage of subsidies. At the same time, this Aadhaar linkage is also having some of the major problems. One such problem is discussed in this article. We know that in accordance with the direction given by Supreme Court of India, the telecom service providers were verifying the mobile number with the Aadhaar cards. While doing this, instead of just stopping with the verification process, the telecom service providers were creating a separate customer's payment bank account without the knowledge of the customer, and they were putting this bank account on the NPCI's Aadhaar payment bridge. That is, they are putting this in the National Payment Corporation of India's Aadhaar payment bridge. This can be done by using the overriding feature which is present in this NPCI platform. While doing this, the subsidy of the customer is automatically transferred to this new customer's payment bank account from the existing account. This is done without the knowledge of the customer. This is the first important problem which have to be addressed. Similarly, the banks were also linking the Aadhaar card with the bank accounts in accordance with the prevention of money laundering rules, according to which the last date for interlinking of Aadhaar card with the bank account is March 31, 2018. Here also the same problem is happening, and this problem is very much magnified in the rural and remote areas. The reason is, whenever the subsidy amount is deposited in the payment bank account and the people were living in the rural and remote areas, the people were finding it very much difficult to withdraw the amount from this payment bank because these payment banks were not having the sufficient amount of cash out points or the branches in the rural or remote areas. As a result, the subsidy amount which is deposited on the account is remaining idle and the people were suffering for a prolonged time period due to the cash crunch. So this problem have to be rectified. In order to rectify this problem, the UIDAI, that is Unique Identification Development Authority of India, has comes up with a new plan, according to which for changing the account for receiving the subsidy, the customer have to provide the consent explicitly. That is the new plan or procedure which is prescribed by the Unique Identification Development Authority of India in this regard. And also, the National Payment Corporation of India has stated that it is planning to disable the override feature which is present in the UIDAI. By doing this, all these problems can be easily rectified. That is what all about this article, and now let us move on to next article. This is the third important article of this page, and this article is discussing about Comptroller and Auditor General of India's observation regarding Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. We have covered about this article in detail in our official website. You can access it by visiting our SVR Academy webpage or simply downloading our Android app from the Google Play Store. Now moving on to next article. This is the page number 10 of Hindu newspaper, and this page contains 3 important articles from the perspective of UPSC Civil Services examination. This article is related to the goods and service tax. We know that at present the petroleum and diesel products, that is the fuels, were not coming under the ambit of goods and service tax. The major reason is the revenue which is generated out of this petroleum products is very much high, and the state government is the one who is receiving this revenue, and they were not willing to share it with the central government or union government. To overcome this issue and to bring the petroleum products under the ambit of GST for the betterment of people, the union government is starting to create a consensus among the states in this regard. If the union government successfully bring the consensus among states and brought the fuel into the GST ambit, then the petroleum products price will drastically come down, because at present a large number of duties were imposed on these petroleum products, thereby increasing its rate artificially. So bringing the petroleum products under GST will bring down the cost of petroleum products, and thereby it will benefit the people in large. That is the important matter which is provided in this article. The second important article is regarding the Indian Institute of Management Bill of 2017. By passing this bill, the Parliament has provided the power to the Indian Institute of Management to grant the degrees instead of the postgraduate diplomas. Earlier, the Indian Institute of Management can only grant the postgraduate diplomas, but at present, with the passage of this bill, the Indian Institute of Management has the power to grant the degrees to the scholars. This move of Parliament is considered as very much significant one, because it will boost up the research activity in the Indian Institute of Management. And this Indian Institute of Management Bill of 2017 also grants the status of Institution of National Importance to the Indian Institute of Management. This status will provide a granting facility for them, and also it will provide the financial autonomy, as well as it will reduce the role of government in the institution. Until now, the union government used to appoint the chairpersons and directors to the board of Indian Institute of Management. and also the Indian government fixes the pay for these directors. But since now the status of institution of national importance is given to the Indian Institute of Management, the board of directors will be appointed by the directors of the each IIM alone, and these people will recommend the names for the chairperson, and also they fix the pay for the board members. That is what all about the Indian Institute of Management Bill of 2017. Now let us move on to next article. The next article is related to the India-US partnership. For the past few years, the relationship between India and the United States of America is growing in a good pace. Recently, in the new security strategy document released by the United States of America, has declared the India as a leading global player. That is, the United States of America has declared its support to make India as a leading global player. Until now, the India is considered only as a balancing power in the world order. But now, the India is recognized as a leading global player. This document also stated that the India is a major partner in maintaining the stability of Asia-Pacific region. And it stated that both the countries can contribute to the combating of terrorism, and also the both countries were contributing to the promotion of peace and security throughout the world. This document states that by being a close partner, the economic progress will take place in both the nations. In this background, recently the India-US designation dialogue have taken place. The India-US designation dialogue is meant for exchanging the information about the strategies to be followed to isolate and ban the terrorism-related individuals and organizations. At present, the Indian government is taking various steps for banning the Pakistan-based group Jaish-e-Mohammed, and also it is also planning to ban the Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Masood Azhar at the United Nations. But unfortunately, the China is using its veto to prevent this move of India. That is what all about this article. Now let us move on to next article. This is page number 13 of Hindu newspaper, and this page contains 3 important articles. The first article is regarding the Comptroller and Auditor General's observation regarding the central government's accounting of fiscal deficit. The second article is regarding the new industrial policy. The third article is regarding the amendment of Companies Act 2017. The first article, which discusses about the Comptroller Auditor General's finding of the fiscal deficit calculation flaw, is discussed separately in different video lecture. So we are not covering it in this video. And the second thing is the new industrial policy, which is also we are covering in a separate video lecture. So we are going to skip it in this video lecture. We are going to directly concentrate on the third important article, that is related to the Companies Act of 2017 Amendment Bill. Recently, the Rajya Sabha has passed the Companies Amendment Bill of 2017. This amendment bill asks for 40 amendments to the existing Company Act, that is Companies Act of 2013. This amendment will strengthen the corporate governance, and also it will initiate the strict actions against the defaulting companies, and also it will boost up the India's ease of doing business ranking in the world. And this amendment bill is primarily aimed at simplifying the rules and regulations which were governing the industries. By doing this, it will boost up the Make in India program, and also it will bring the lot of foreign direct investment to India. Since it is in the draft stage, that is, since this amendment bill is in the beginning stage, we will cover about this in detail in another video lecture. Now let us move on to next article. This is page number 8 of Hindu newspaper, and it is editorial page. in today's editorial page, there is a lot of political news is given. You can simply skip all those political news from the perspective of UPSC Civil Services examination. And from exam perspective, there is two important articles is present in today's editorial page. The first article is regarding the goods and service tax, and the second article is regarding the terrorism. The first article is very much important from the perspective of General Studies Paper 3 of UPSC Civil Services examination. This article is discussing about the e-way bill. We have covered a separate video lecture regarding e-way bill, so we are not discussing that topic in here. And also the terrorism is one of the important topic. Reading this article will help you to perform better in the internal security related questions as well as the questions related to the terrorism. That is what all about today's Hindu newspaper analysis. For further articles and important concepts regarding UPSC Civil Services examination, do visit our website www.commandindia.com or simply download our Android app from the Google Play Store. Just search SVR IAS Academy in Google Android Play Store. You will get our app. All the best for your examinations. Thank you.